Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod with Dakota Robertson. With us today, he's a founder at Growth Ghost. He helps creatives and entrepreneurs make money with social media, grow and monetize their personal brands. He personally helped 150 plus clients grow their personal brands with writing and content marketing. He's quite prominent on YouTube, makes a bunch of videos, cool guy altogether, makes great content on LinkedIn as well. This pod is presented to you by podfire.com. If you want to start or scale your podcast, go to podfire.com. Dakota, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, thank you, brother Charles. Appreciate you having me on. Yeah, like you said, I help people grow and monetize their personal brands, and I've been in the game for almost 4 years now. Used to be an electrician, server, delivery driver, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, I just fell in love with creating content. I love the freedom of it. I love teaching people, helping people understand concepts, and it's just been my whole life for the past 4 years. So now I help other people grow and monetize their personal brand, and it's been a hell of a journey. Just the opportunities it's brought, and how fulfilling it's been, and also making money, which is cool. So yeah.
So, how old are you and what happened to your life in 2020?
Yeah, so I'm 26 right now. In 2020 is kind of at a low point where I was working a job as a medic. I was like 20 pounds overweight because I was just eating. I was sitting in a truck all day. I just did not like where my life was at. Girlfriend recently broke up with me at that time, and I was just kind of lost. And for the 2 years leading up to that, I was in crypto, investing all my paychecks into crypto. Everyone thought I was crazy. Um, but I stumbled upon a course on how to grow on Twitter in 2020 because I was on Twitter to keep up with crypto news. And it was how to grow on Twitter, step by step ebook, $40. I bit the bullet and I bought it. And leading up to that point, I mean, I tried different side hustles like buying broken iPhones, fixing them, flipping items on eBay, Amazon FBA, you name it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a shot and see how it goes. And it was an absolutely ass ebook and just taught generic advice that wasn't good. Eventually, after trial and error and spending a lot of money on courses and coaching, I figured out how to actually grow a personal brand, offer that as a service with social media ghostwriting. So I grew other people's social medias by creating content, started to learn what was working amongst all these different accounts. And then I started teaching people through a coaching program how to do the same and actually how to start a ghostwriting business and been scaling that up.
So, you're headed straight for the rat race. Is the advice here to make a 360-degree pivot to actually reach the bottom of the barrel? Is that the best time to make a big move like you did?
I I don't necessarily think it's the best. I think I leveraged that pain, and I took that and used it as energy instead of playing the victim or giving up. I was like, I really don't want this to be my life. And that fueled me because when I faced challenges trying to grow my personal brand and monetize it, I knew what was waiting on me for me on the other side if I didn't make that work. And I think it was an edge on my part because so many people, they live a comfortable life and, they actually want higher aspirations for themselves. But when things get challenging, they know, oh, I have this comfortable life I can fall back on if it doesn't work out. Me, I was all in. I was like, there's no way I'm going back. So I was just like obsession mode and went hard. So I think some people are just wired differently. For me, it was a huge motivator to get my life together, and I leveraged that. So yeah.
And you had a tough life, I guess. Your dad was a crack addict and your mom died from an overdose, quite literally. Do you feel that's been a burden for you, or did you convert that into a superpower?
Yeah, like I definitely struggled a lot not having that masculinity in my life growing up, or that strong masculine role model, or like a father. And I was very shy and anxious growing up, and same with like more like on the feminine side with like qualities. And I had to learn masculinity and harness that. But I'm grateful for that because it taught me both sides of the spectrum and actually how to be independent and learn all these skills for myself. And I can empathize with the people that may have faced similar struggles. My mom was amazing growing up. She taught me integrity, work ethic. She actually drilled it in my head as a kid. Dakota, do not work for somebody else. Start your own business. And I didn't appreciate it during the time, but she really influenced me in so many ways. I'm very grateful for her. But yeah, when I was 13, she started going downhill. She faced some hard times in life, went to alcohol, then cocaine, and then crack, and then it just went spiraled down from there. Um, but yeah, no, I still talk to my father. Like he's more of a friend than a father. He's a really good guy. Just struggled with addiction. He had his own demons. Um, my mother was amazing. I love them both. But yeah, it was hard on me with both those things. But I used it as fuel. Like a common theme for me is I'll just take pain points and I'll just use it as fuel or try to turn it into a positive or reframe it. So I view it as a gift. Like I think I have this gift of empathy for other people, and I think I had to go through hard shit so I can figure it out and kind of help other people, navigate their struggles too. So yeah, it's been a blessing and a curse.
Can you imagine how does it feel to be successful and one of the only stable pillar in your own life if you didn't have these stable pillars before?
It's it's interesting because I've seen both ends. So I grew up with not a lot of money. We used to sneak into movie theaters to like get to go see the movies. I used to live in a motor home, like little stuff like that. But now it's like, I don't have to look at the price of groceries or, food and, other things like that. And I just appreciate the journey and not the money as much, but the person I had to become to actually make that money. And that's been the coolest thing for me. But yeah, it's like I get messages from people I grew up with or people that knew me and like, holy shit, and just open their eyes to what's possible online if you actually learn skills and put in the work. It's cool. It's cool because you're just doing this for yourself, but little do you know you're actually inspiring other people to make changes in their own lives. And then it just has this cascading effect because if they do the same, they're inspiring other people in their group. So I think the best way to change the world, even unintentionally, is to change yourself and level up because you're going to inspire people even if you don't mean to, which has been really cool.
And the young folks you mentor nowadays, what kind of problems are they facing?
The main thing is mindset. So, you know, we're conditioned with school and society to follow orders and to fall in line. And if someone has to go out and do stuff for themselves, then they're like, because they were never taught that skill of independence. They're taught, you take this test, you study this, you do X, Y, Z, you go to college, you get that degree, you take out debt to, get that degree. Okay, now you go work a job. Okay, now you're supposed to get married and get a mortgage on a house, and you're supposed to do this and this and this. And a lot of the time it's like family or teachers or whoever telling you what to do, and you never ask yourself, what do I want to do? And so people never really get to the point of actually considering their own thoughts, motivations, feelings. And even if they do, they don't know how to go out and get that for themselves. Me, I was like very independent as a kid because I just didn't have many like figures growing up. So I like figured out how to do stuff on my own. I Googled it. I was very resourceful. And I think that's something that's lacking in a lot of people's lives. They just never learned how to do stuff on their own. So when you like tell them like, just like figure this out or like here's how you do it, they're just like, I still don't know how to do it and like all that. So I think mindset's a huge one for people and just overcoming the fear of rejection and failing. You got to fail so much to actually get to the point where you're getting traction. A lot of people just aren't comfortable with that. And yeah, it's a shame, but it's more of a mindset thing.
I often ponder on that. And I remember my first business, it was mowing lawns. Me, and my buddy, we bought a $6,000 pickup truck. We bought the lawnmowers. We printed the flyers, but we lacked the guts to actually go give out these flyers. So the business never got off the ground, believe it or not. And I was wondering, why have I not ever been taught how to sell and get out of my comfort zone? You know, like at school, the closest we'll get to being nervous is like these oral presentations, which we're presenting in front of the class. But the broader team is that the educational system, I feel, is setting us up for failure. It's literally making us idle for 20 years, and then you're left by your own. It's like, hey, go out in the market and go get a job, go get a 9 to 5. What would be a better version of that educational system in your opinion?
I mean, I'll start off by saying like I don't think everyone should be an entrepreneur. I used to think that like everyone's a slave if you're not like, building your own business or doing whatever. But there's some people that like they genuinely enjoy their job. And I think they can get lost with social media where the gurus are saying, you're wagey, you're a slave if you work a 9 to 5, and they get these ideas in their head like, oh yeah, I should build a business when they're perfectly happy doing what they do for their 9 to 5. Like, I'll start off by saying that, but for the people that don't like their 9 to 5 or like what they're working on, um, I think the best route, like at the start, is consuming free content on YouTube and just learning from these different people, making sure they're credible. There's a lot of like people BSing online, which is unfortunate. Or like I think the fastest way is paying for a mentor. So I paid my first mentor, Dan Coe, to help me with social media. I did that after like I got to know him and actually like saw his content and like got warmed up to him. And like you gotta be careful when you pay for mentors or coaches online. A lot of them are just full of BS. I paid 25K to a mentor once and it turned out he was an absolute idiot. And that one stung, but all par for the course. And but yeah, like paying for a mentor, like you're probably paying like 5 to 10K up front, but you are going to save so much money and time in mistakes and screw ups that they're just going to be like, just do this, do this, do this. Because they already did all the work and like experience for you. And you just got to execute on what they do or tell you to do. And a big thing for me as well was when I hired a mentor, when I hired Dan, he just said, do this step by step. And I just did it. I didn't have to think about whether it was right or wrong. Like he is at the place where I want to be. He's giving me the roadmap. I'm just going to execute on it. And it took out so much self doubt and gave me so much clarity because I wasn't second guessing myself. Because if you're doing it on your own, you're like, is this right? Should I do this? You're like, figure it out on your own. When you hire a mentor, it really helps with that, at least in my personal experience. So I think if you find someone that's credible, I think that's the best way to go. But aside from that, free, you can look up anything for free on YouTube.
For people with jobs cruising around, don't you think AI is going to replace them?
I think it depends how replaceable you are. I think it will disrupt so many people in different jobs. I mean, like you look at like landscapers or electricians, probably, if you got a trade, you're probably good. But, if you look at McDonald's, they're replacing their clerks with the self checkouts, same with grocery stores, stuff like that. So yeah, I'd be kind of concerned if I was, in a field where AIs could eat my lunch. The beautiful thing with social media is, yeah, it's going to replace a lot of like crappy content creators, copywriters, creatives. But if you're actually good and you know how to tell stories and build connections with people, you're good. You got like it's like brand name. At least in my opinion, I could be totally wrong, but yeah, I would be concerned if I was if I was someone who had a job that like look at coders, I think they're going to be screwed. Maybe not. I don't know anything about, it, but it just seems like they're coming to web design stuff like that. It's just not going to be ideal.
I think AI is going to have a tough time replacing creativity. So creative coders are going to survive for longer. But yeah, anyone that's cruising around and following orders and not thinking for themselves, do you think they're going to have a hard time? I like your copywriting style. You're quite successful at it. We both write with testosterone, and we don't hesitate to write bad words and to shake people up. Does this style sometime backfires on you? Do you get hate? Do you find that shaking people up works, or does it also end up badly sometimes?
Yeah, so I don't fit in on places like LinkedIn. Like they're very corporate or they're very prim and proper, and it's all about their image. It's, oh, you gotta have the perfect slides and it's gotta have the perfect font and all this. And I just come in, I'm like, F this or the blah blah blah. So I definitely rub people the wrong way, and I give off vibes where they just probably think I'm some Chad douchebag and, just, I don't know, whatever. That's okay. I don't want to associate with those people. I want to attract the people that I like. And the people I like are more open, they're more relaxed, more conversational. I don't want the corporate, PC types. Like stay away. So I view it as a filter. If you get kind of upset if I use a silly reference or I swear, good. I don't want to talk to you. So I find it's a great filter and I find it connects deeper too. Because so many of these copywriters, content creators, whoever, they're they're so boring and bland. And the one thing I think I do well is I show my personality in my writing and I make it funny and I just separate myself from so many people. Like if you were to read my writing, you could usually tell, like, oh, that's Dakota. So I like it. And that's how I talk too. So it's more fun. It's way more fun. Yeah, that's a big thing too. I enjoy coming up with these ridiculous scenarios or analogies in the writing. It's just like way more engaging, I find.
Tell me about your content. How do you come up with ideas with twists and turns? What's your machine? Mine, for example, is reading Wikipedia. Every time I go to bed, I get a whole bunch of ideas there. But also, yeah, obviously listening to audiobooks, talking to 20 plus clients a day, I get a horde of data, package it up, go to the gym, have a nice biohacking routine, and then pop these ideas they came in. So, what's your content writing process if there's one?
Yeah, for me, it used to be read a lot of books, condense down what I was learning and teaching it. Now it's more experience based for me because I'm just right now in a mode or season where I'm applying so much stuff. I'm in like coaching programs, learning a lot of stuff and applying it. And so what I'll do is I'll think, okay, where's the pain point? Like, where is my target audience at? What's their current pain points? What's their desired outcomes? And then how can I position my content as the bridge between the pain point and the desired outcome? And once I have that, I'm like, okay, all the steps that they need to take. How do I write it in an entertaining way that they can understand easily? So my go-to is using analogies. So if I'm trying to explain a concept, for example, full stack creator, something I talk about, it's like a full stack creator is like a skyscraper. So you have your foundation, which is your foundational skill, and then you add on a floor. So it might be an additional skill, it might be audience building, whatever. And you keep adding these floors, and eventually you build this skyscraper where it's worth way more money than if it was just like one floor. So using analogies, I like to make them really ridiculous and funny. Like I wrote an email where social media is like an awkward high school dance. You're sitting in the corner drinking punch, awkwardly bopping your head, and then you see the cool kids dancing and flaunting whatever. So I'll just do stuff like that. But yeah, I just find it's like simple pain point. How do I solve it? Get them desired outcome. How do I make it funny or easy to understand?
And you just let your audience decide on what's good and what's not?
I Yeah, I get feedback from my content, so I see what gets more engagement than typical, and I think, okay, is this the idea? Is this the formatting? Is it a mix of both? And yeah, just seeing what content gets more DMs or messages saying, "Hey, this really resonated with me." But also talking to them. So I had a free community, and when they applied, I asked them, "What are your interests? What are your desires? What are your skills? And what are your pain points?" And I collected all this data from everyone that applied, my target audience. And then I plug that into ChatGPT. I'm like, find the common patterns here. And then based off this data, let's like work together to create an offer. and just like workshop it, or like using this data, like, write me a lead using this framework, XYZ. So yeah, I use ChatGPT a lot.
Yeah, same here. It's for everything, buying stuff as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, this house here, like I don't know shit about what to do around the house, So GPT teaches me pretty much everything. What does your day to day look like? Do you have a routine?
Yeah. So for the past year, I've been struggling with routine. But something I've actually worked on a lot recently. Wake up at 6. I will read for a little bit just to get my mind going, journal a little bit if I feel like it, and then get to work, and then exercise, and then maybe do some more work, and then chill out for the day. Usually, like, I go till 6 till 2, 3 maybe. Um, and then yeah, do whatever for the rest of the day, watch Mad Men.
Do you biohack? What's your relationship with caffeine or testosterone?
Yeah, so I've done different biohacking things here and there. Morning sunlight. I got a red light I travel with. Nicotine spray. I like nicotine and caffeine. And I haven't touched any like TRT or any like test. I'll probably do that when I'm 35. Um, What else? I got my Whoop. Like, I just monitor my sleep and different stuff like that. And I wear my blue blocking glasses at night too. So yeah, I guess I do it like, yeah, quite frequently. I'm not like hardcore, but yeah.
Yeah, testosterone wasn't referring to like the chemical one, but yeah, I don't know, like cold showers, for example,
Oh, gotcha.
saunas. You go to the gym daily, right?
Yeah, yeah. I actually did. I've been trying that sauna protocol where you do 2 hours once a week to spike. I think it was HGH. So I did that for a while. I got to get back into that, but that was I love the sauna. Um,
Dude, 2 hours. Like,
yeah.
do you pause? Tell me a
So
bit more.
yeah, so I can usually do an hour straight if I have water with me, maybe like 40 minutes, and then I'll take a 10-minute break, and then I'll go in for the final hour. The final hour is like pretty hardcore. Depends on the sauna and how hot it is. But you're like, holy shit. You're just trying to pass the time, and I'll go on calls, so it's a lot easier. If my mind's not focusing on how hot it is. But yeah.
Be like with a client and pass out in between.
Yes, have a stroke.
What are your top goals this year? Your top three.
I'm really getting realigned with the direction I want to take my business. So one is launching my low ticket community, and two, scaling YouTube up to probably, I think I could hit 60K subscribers this year. And then three, um I don't know, I just want my family to be happy and healthy. So like anything I can do to do that, but yeah.
Time with them or
Yeah, I want to spend more time with them. It's hard because I'm exiting Canada's tax system, because I'm a Panama resident, and yeah, that's been a process. So I can't spend more than 3 months, ideally, in Canada, or else they'll deem me a resident. So, um, but maybe like fly them out to where I'm at.
fantastic dudes. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah. So I recommend dakotarobertson.net or Twitter. Twitter's my favorite. At wrongs to right, WRITE, or YouTube. YouTube's probably some of my best content at Hey Dakota or Dakota Robertson. I'm everywhere. I'm under your bed.